Hello, Pizza Packs here, and we're back with another Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander deck. This time it's party time! Party time! Alright. Let's get into this. This is the black-white deck. As with more recent Commander decks, comes with a divider, 9 counters. We'll pop those out later. Theme deck box. Party time. Spacer. A themed spend down life counter. Okay. Insert. The deck. And a collector booster sample pack, which we'll open those in their own video. The insert, we have party time playing the deck, the rules of Commander, and a nice little blurb on the face Commander. Alright, let's get into what everyone's here for. What is in this deck? Alright, so the face commander is Nolia de Arnis. So for 1, a white and a black, you get a 3/3 legendary human rogue. When you look at the top library of your, or the top card of your library at any time, you may cast cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard spells from the top of your library. Nice. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and those creatures gain death touch until end of turn. Very nice. Alright, now the secondary commander is a pair, or oh, it's a commander with a background. Okay. We have Burakos, party leader, 3 and a black, or 2/4 legendary orc. It is also a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. Whenever it attacks, defending player loses X life, and you create X treasure tokens where X is the number of creatures in your party. Nice. I wonder if that caps out at 4. I think it does. And then choose a background. We have the folk hero background. So 1 and a white for legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever you cast a spell that shares a creature type with this creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Right. We have Arcane Signet, Mana Rock for your commander's identity, Command Tower, we know what that does. Ooh, Aven Mind Sensor. So 2 and a white for a 2/1 bird wizard with flash and flying. If an opponent would search a library, that player searches the top 4 cards of that library instead. We have Crib Swap. This was a fantastic card back in, it was Lorwyn. But 2 and a white, tribal instant shapeshifter. And it has changeling. This card is every creature type. Exile target creature. Its controller creates a 1/1 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. Regular cohort. 2 white for a 2/2 shapeshifter with changeling. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. So you get 2 changelings for the price of 1. Mage's Attendant. This is from Strisa New Capenna. But 2 and a white for a 3/2 cat rogue. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 blue wizard creature token with 1. Sacrifice this creature. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. So very nice. Hey, it's Mom, Mother of Runes. For a white, you get a 1/1 human cleric that has tapped target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Priest of Ancient Lore. 2 and a white, 2/1 dwarf cleric. When it enters the battlefield, you gain a life and draw a card. Now, there is a strictly better version of this card from Streets of New Capenna. It is the, it's the Angel. I forget the name of it. We have Rumor Gatherer, 1 white for 2/1 Elf Wizard with Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability resolves this turn, draw a card instead. Valiant Changeling, 5 white for 3/3 Shapeshifter. It costs 1 less for each creature type among creatures you control. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana the spell costs by more than 5. Changeling, Double Strike. So this can be a 2/2 double striker if you have another Changeling in play. Changeling Outcast. Changeling for a black, the 1/1 Shapeshifter, and it can't block and can't be blocked. Corpse Augur, 3 and a black, or 4/2 Zombie Wizard. When it dies, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the greatest, or where X is the number of creature cards in target player's graveyard. Okay. Malakir Blood Priest, 1 and a black for 2/1 Vampire Cleric. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Yeah, so it can only be 4. Or it can only be up to 4. Thwart the Grave, 4 black, sorcery, costs 1 less for each creature in your party, so it could cost just black. Turn target creature card and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this could be one of the most, if you have a full party, this is one of the most efficient reanimation spells ever printed. Zulaport Cutthroat, 1 on black, 1/1 human rogue ally. When it enters the battlefield, when it or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is used in Yawgmoth combo. Spark, white-black instant, exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Orzhov Signet, it's the black-white Signet. Skull Clamp, so good it was banned in Standard. It's banned in most formats, actually. Equipment for 1. Equipped creature gets +1, -1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards, equip 1. Soul Ring, we know what Soul Ring does. Talisman of Hierarchy, it is the white-black talisman. So it taps for colorless, costs 2 mana, taps for colorless, and then you can tap for a white or a black and it deals the damage to you. Ash Barrens, taps for colorless, basic land cycling 1. Kajuka Bog, one of the most useful utility lands ever printed, enters the battlefield tapped. When it comes into play, exile target player's graveyard, then taps for a black. Mortuary Mire, enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you may put a creature card from your graveyard on top of your library, and then taps for a black. Myriad Landscape, enters tapped, taps for colorless. 2, tap and sacrifice it, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Orzhov Basilica, it's the white-black Karu. Or Bounce Land, is another name for it. Path of Ancestry, enters battlefield tapped. Tap for 1 of any of your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Snowfield Sinkhole, it is the plain swamp snowland. Enters the battlefield tapped. Can be fetched, though, which is really nice. Deep Gnome Terramancer. You have 1 and a white for 2/2 Gnome Wizard with Flash. Is Mold Earth. Whenever 1 or more lands enter the battlefield under an opponent's control without being played, you may search your library for a Plains card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Do this only once each turn. Harper Recruiter. 2 and a white for 3/1 human wizard or human warrior with flying. Whenever it attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a cleric, rogue, wizard, and or warrior card from among them and put those cards in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Seasoned Dungeoneer. Very nice. This was so good it was banned in Legacy. But I think, is this one? I think this is the one that was banned in No, White Plume Adventurer was one banned in Legacy. This is the one that you can actually still play. 3 and a white for a 3/4 human warrior. When it enters the battlefield, take the initiative. Whenever you attack, target attacking cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard gains protection from creatures until end of turn. It explores. Reveal the top card of your library. Put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 creature or counter on the creature. Then put the card back or put it into your graveyard. Stick Together. 3 white sorcery. Each player chooses a party from among creatures they control, then sacrifices the rest. Wow. Actually really strong. Black Market Connections. 2 and a black. Enchantment. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose one or more. Sell contraband, create a treasure token, you lose 1 life. Buy information, draw a card, you lose 2 life. Hire a mercenary, create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling, you lose 3 life. Solemn Doom Guide. 3 black for a 5/4 tiefling cleric. Flying, each creature card in your graveyard that's a cleric, rogue, warrior, and or wizard has unearth 1 and a black. That is crazy good. Multiclass Bardric. Equipment for 1. Equip creature as lifelink if you control a cleric, death touch if you control a rogue, haste if you control a warrior, and flying if you control a wizard. As long as you have a full party, prevent all damage that would be dealt to equipped creature, and it has equipped 2. Archpriest of Yona. For a white, it is a X2 human cleric. Its power is equal to the number of creatures in your party. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. Austere Command. 4 white, choose 2. Or sorcery, choose 2. Destroy all artifacts, all enchantments, destroy all creatures with mana value 3 or less, destroy all creatures with mana value 4 or greater. Alright, Bygone Bishop. 2 and a white, or a 2/3 spirit cleric with flying. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 3 or less, investigate. Nice. Which is create a clue token. Dusk to Dawn. Dusk, 2 white, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, and then Dawn has Aftermath. Cast a spell only from your graveyard, then exile it. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. 8 and a Half Tails. This one takes me back. White for 2/2 legendary fox cleric. 1 and a white, target permanent you control gains protection from white until end of turn. Colorless, target or single generic. Target spell or permanent becomes white until end of turn. Frontline Medic. 2 and a white for 3/3 human cleric. Battalion. Whenever it and at least 2 other creatures attack, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Sacrifice Frontline Medic. Target spell with X in its mana cost, or counter target spell with X in its mana cost unless its controller pays 3. Gelpowder Mage. 3 and a white for a 3/3 Kithkin Wizard with flying. Whenever it attacks, exile another target creature, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Glorious Protector. 2 white for a 3/4 Angel Cleric. Flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield, and it has Foretell 2 and a white. Giselle Goldmane. 2 white for a 4/4 legendary cat warrior with first strike. 3 white, attacking creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Magus of Balance. 1 and a white for a 2/2 human wizard. 4 and a white, tap, sacrifice it. Each player chooses a number of lands they control equal to the number of lands controlled by the player who controls the fewest, then sacrifices the rest. Players discard cards and sacrifice creatures the same way. There's a 7 mana balance on a creature. Mikaeus the Lunarch. X and a white for a 0/0 legendary human cleric. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on it. on it. Tap, remove a +1/+1 counter from it. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. Mirror Entity. This was a big one back in Lore 1 block. A 2 and a white for a 1/1 shapeshifter with changeling. X until end of turn. Creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. Order of White Clay. 1 white for 1/4 Kithkin Cleric. 1 white untap. That's right, it's untap, not tap. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Selfless Spirit. 1 and a white for 2/1 Spirit Cleric with flying. Sacrifice Selfless Spirit. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Savine's Reclamation. 2 and a white sorcery. Return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this spell was cast from your graveyard, you may copy this spell and you may choose a new target for the copy. Flashback 4 and a white. Solemn Recruit. 1 white for 2/2 Dwarf Warrior with double strike. His Revolt. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Solemn Recruit. Squad Commander. 3 and a white for 3/3 Core Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white Core Warrior creature token for each creature in your party. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible until end of turn. Unbreakable Formation. 2 and a white instant. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Addendum. If you cast a spell during your main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on each one of those creatures, and they gain vigilance until end of turn. Blood-Soaked Champion. Black for a 2/1 Human Warrior. Can't block. It has Raid. 1 and a black. Return it from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only if you attack this turn. Butcher of Malakir. 5 black for a 5/4 Vampire Warrior with flying. When it or another creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Calculating Lich. 4 black for a 5/5 Zombie Wizard with Menace. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life. Okay. Dire Fleet Ravager. 3 black for a 4/4 Orc Pirate Wizard. Menace Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, each player loses 1/3 of their life, rounded up. Gonti, Lord of Luxury. 2 black for a 2/3 Legendary Aetherborn Rogue with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 of target opponent's library, exile 1 of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of that library in a random order. You may look at and cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana or mana of any type to cast that spell. Grim Haruspex. 2 and a black for a 3/2 Human Wizard with Morph for a black. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. Grim Hireling. 3 and a black for a 3/2 Tiefling Rogue. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, create 2 treasure tokens. Black, sacrifice X treasures. Target creature gains -X until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Mardu Strike Leader. 2 and a black for a 3/2 Human Warrior. Whenever it attacks, create a 2/1 Black Warrior creature token. And it has dash for 3 and a black. Mindblade Render. 1 and a black for a 1/3 Azra Warrior. Whenever your opponents are dealt combat damage, if any of that damage was dealt by a warrior, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Nighthawk Scavenger. This was a really big one in Standard while it was legal. 1 black for a 1+X 3 Vampire Rogue. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. Its power and toughness. Its power is equal. Sorry, not toughness. Its power is equal to 1 plus the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. Pontiff of Blight. 4 black for a 2/7, which is huge butt. Zombie cleric with extort. Other creatures you control have extort. If a creature has multiple instances of extort, each triggers separately. Puppeteer Click. 3 black for a 3/2 fairy wizard with flying. When it enters the battlefield, put target creature from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste. At the beginning of your next end step, exile it. It has persist. When this creature dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter on it. Felisa, Fang of Silverquill. 2, a white and a black, for a 3/2 legendary vampire wizard. Flying and mentor. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, create X tapped 1/2 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of counters it had on it. Thoria's Retribution. 1 white black for a saga, or enchantment saga. Create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance for Chapter 1. Chapter 2 is until end of turn. Angels you control gain tap, destroy target creature with power less than this creature's power. Chapter 3 is angels you control gain double strike until end of turn. Now keep in mind that works very, very well with Mirror Entity because it makes all of your creatures angels. High Priest of Penance. White black for a 1/1 human cleric. Whenever it is dealt damage, you may destroy target non-land permanent. So if you can give this indestructible and then deal a bunch of damage to it, it's kind of a good thing. Maskwood Nexus. It's a 4-mana artifact that gives all of your creatures changeling. It also applies to your creature spells and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So that you can pay 3 and tap it to create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with changeling. Castle Lochthwain. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. Tap for a black. 1 black, tap, draw a card, then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Mutavault. Wow, did not realize Mutavault was in here. It's nice. It's good to see. It's good that it had a reprint. Tap for a colorless. 1, and then for 1 generic. It becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn. It's still a land. Shambling Vent. It's the white-black manland from Battle for Zendikar. I think it was Battle for Zendikar. Enters the battlefield tapped. 1 white-black. It becomes a 2/3 white and black elemental creature with lifelink until end of turn. It's still a land. Temple of Silence. The white-black temple. Vault of the Archangel. Tap for a colorless. 2 white and a black. Tap. Creatures you control gain Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. Can be very nice. I could see throwing a Walking Ballista and a Heliod in here and going nuts. So, it's a thing. War Room. Let's see. Taps for a colorless. 3 tap. Pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity. Draw a card. It's a thing. Windbrisk Heights. It's the white hideaway land. Enters the battlefield tap. Taps for colorless. White and tap. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn. Starlit Sanctum. I put Nomads and Ilkor in here. And there's a creature that, along with Starlit Sanctum, allows you to gain infinite life. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, though. I think it was from Onslaught. Starlit Sanctum. Taps for a colorless. White, tap, sacrifice a cleric creature, gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. Black, tap, sacrifice a cleric creature, target player loses life equal to the sacrificed creature's power. We have Tainted Field. It's the tainted for white-black. Taps for colorless. Taps for white or black if you control a swamp. We have some basics. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 planes. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 swamps. We have our Nolia de Arnis. Thick cardboard thingy. We have some tokens. The initiative with Undercity on the back. A shapeshifter. Actually, 3 different shapeshifters. One has a clue on the back. And these are both 2/2 shapeshifters on the back, and there are 3 2s on the front. We have we have 4 core warriors that are 1/1s. And on the backs, they are a treasure token, a wizard token that counters spells, a 4/4 flying vigilant angel warrior, and a 2/2 shapeshifter. We have 2 warrior tokens that are inklings on the back. Very nice. Then the turn order reminder and the format reminder. All right. Well, thank you for joining me on this adventure through Baldur's Gate / The Forgotten Realms. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel in a non-monetary fashion. If you'd also like to help out the channel in a monetary fashion, you can exit through the gift shop, also known as our Patreon, which is linked on our About page. It gives you access to some really cool stuff, and really helps us out with bringing more awesome content to all of you. So, if that's something that interests you, awesome. If not, that's cool too. But as always, until next time, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.